My beautiful people, what happened when there's consequences to your actions when it comes to speech? InfoWars host himself, Alex Jones, found out the hard way. Also, what happens when you put incompetent people in high positions in the federal government? RFK. And last but not least, the Queen herself, New York Attorney General, say, you know what? I got something to say. We will discuss that and more tonight on the Daily Rewind. Let's go. What's going on, my beautiful people? Welcome to the Daily Rewind with me, your boy HB. To top it off tonight, we're going to start off with Alex Jones. I came across this article in an Associated Press. Quote, the Supreme Court rejects Alex Jones' appeal of $1.4 billion defamation judgment in the Sandy Hook shooting. The Supreme Court on Tuesday rejected an appeal from conspiracy theorist Alex Jones and left in place the $1.4 billion judgment against him over his description of the 2012 Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting as a hoax staged by crisis actors. The InfoWars host had argued that a judge was wrong to find him liable for defamation and infliction of emotional distress without holding a trial on the merits of allegations lodged by relatives of victims of the shooting, which killed 20 first graders and 6 educators in Newtown, Connecticut. The justice did not comment on the order, which they issued without even asking the families of the Sandy Hook victims to respond to Jones' appeal. An FBI agent who responded to the shooting also sued. Jones filed for bankruptcy in the late 2022, and his lawyers told the justices that the quote, the plaintiff have no possible hope of collecting, end quote, the entire judgment. He is separately appealing a $49 million judgment in a similar defamation lawsuit in Texas after he failed to turn over documents sorted by the parents of another Sandy Hook victim. In the Connecticut case, the judge issued a rare default ruling against Jones and his company in late 2021 because of what she called Jones' repeated failure to abide by court rulings and to turn over certain evidence to the Sandy Hook families. The judge convened a jury to determine how much Jones would owe, end quote. It's a lot more to that. Article is available to you on the Associated Press. I feel no sorrow for the brother. This will happen when you open up your mouth and say all type of crazy, false information. This is what happens. So now the judge say, run them people their money. Run it. People need to understand there's consequences to every action. People always think they just want to say, I have freedom of speech. I could say whatever I want to say. Nah. I mean, you may, but also don't be surprised when you dealt with certain consequences because of the same stuff that you stated. You feel me? This is how that works. You can't just be going around saying all type of stuff and then think that, oh, well, I'm protected by free speech. I could just say whatever I want to say. No, it doesn't work like that. And then the type of stuff that you were saying, man, was cruel. These people have lost children. And you saying that they were actors? Come on, man. Get the out of here. That's not cool. So at the end of the day, run them people their money. They want their money. They ain't trying to hear none of that stuff that you got going on. Run them their money. And the Supreme Court say, nah, we can't help you. Run them people their money. Run it. Man, you people can get enough of running y'all mother them out and think you can just get away with stuff and there won't be any consequences? Man, oh man. Into incompetence, let's talk about RFK. This one hit home for me. Um, a little bit about my background before I get into this article. I just recently graduated with my master's in public health degree. I had desires to work for the federal government as an epidemiologist. And so I had a plan. I said, once I get, you know what I'm saying, graduate, I'm going to go into the federal government, get into the public health associate program, get into the government, work, do my 2 years. And after that, I'll be in there. Then once Orange Palpatine got into the office, all that was cut. Couldn't get into the program. That really messed me up because that was my desire to work for the federal government. You know what I'm saying? And it still is. But now I have to pivot to certain things. Pivot to where my plan A, you know what I'm saying? I have to go to my plan B and C. It's going to work out for the best for me. But enough about that. Let's get into RFK. According to the Associated Press, and I quote, federal employees in mental health and disease control were among target and weekend firings. Hundreds of federal employees working on mental health services, disease outbreaks, and disaster preparedness, were among those hit by Orange Palpatine administration mass firings over the weekend. Current and laid off workers said Monday, as the administration aims to pressure Democrat lawmakers to give in and the nearly 2-week-long government shutdown. The government-wide reduction in force initiative that began Friday rolled the massive U.S. Department of Health and Human Services just 6 months after it went through an early round of cuts, and as many staffers already was disconnected from work because of the shutdown. The situation turned even more chaotic over the weekend, when more than half of the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention employees who gotten laid off notices learned they received them in error and were still employed by the agency. HHS, through its agencies, is responsible for tracking health trends and disease outbreaks, conducting and funding medical research, and monitoring the safety of food and medicine, as well as for administrating health insurance programs for nearly half of the country. Among HHS agencies facing staff cuts were the CDC, the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, or SAMHSA, and the Administration for Strategic Preparedness and Response, according to current and laid off employees who spoke with the Associated Press. Former staffers and health professionals said they were concerned the layoffs could have negative health impacts and make it difficult for HHS agencies to fulfill their obligations set by Congress. End quote. This is what happens when you put incompetent mother into high positions in the federal government because they don't know what they're doing. I hate this, man. I hate this current environment that we into. This suck. We need people in these positions. People who have went to school, who have research. You know what I'm saying? We need these type of people in positions. And this administration that's cutting people, that's cutting this to cut people, all because they want to get back at the Democrats. Oh, you guys, and mind you, they in control of the federal government. You know what I'm saying? The Democrats saying, you know what? We trying to protect health care because at the end of the year, them premium's going to go up. So no, we not budging. We not signing off on no CR. You need to come to the table. And that's how negotiation work. You can't, at the end of the day, I understand that the Republicans control the White House and Congress. You know what I'm saying? But you just can't say, this is the CR. I need you to go ahead and sign this. No, that's not how this works. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand the rules when it comes to the Senate. You need 7 Democrats. Okay. So since you need 7 Democrats, what we going to get out of this? You can't expect us to sign up for something and we ain't going to get part of the deal. That's not how you negotiate. You want 7 Democrats? Okay, we need to come to the table and we need to put our demands in it too and chop it down until everybody comes to, because I get everybody is not going to get everything. I get that. That's a part when it comes to negotiating. Some people get certain things, some people get certain things. Everybody not going to get all the needs that they want. That's how you come to the table and make it work. You feel me? So Democrats say, you want 7 people? Give us our demands, and then we sign off on it. The Republicans feel some type of way when it comes to this. So they're just cutting people, you know what I'm saying? Firing people for no reason, all in the talks of reduction enforcement initiative. That's some. But again, consequences to every action. People had a choice to make it in November, and they put these people back in office to run the federal government, and you see how that's going for us. People gonna learn. People gonna learn. Sometimes people need to go through certain things for them to learn the hard way. You feel me? And last but not least, let's get into the nitty-gritty. This is the good stuff right here. Some people may not know, but I'm a New Yorker. And one thing about a Brooklyn night, we don't back down. We don't play that. We don't play that. We built differently. Some people may call New Yorkers arrogant and mean and rude and standoffish, or they think they all that. Nah, we just built different. So I ran across this Associate Press article, and I quote, New York Attorney General Letitia James facing fraud charges strikes a defiant tone at the Madani rally. New York Attorney General Letitia James struck a defiant tone Monday during her first public appearance since being indicted on federal fraud charges related to her purchase of a home in Virginia. The Democrat took the stage to a thunderous and sustained applause and chant of, quote, "We love you, Tish," end quote, during a boisterous rally for New York City Mayor candidate Zohran Mamdani in the city's Washington Heights neighborhood. James warned of, quote, "powerful voices trying to silence truth and punish dissent," end quote, and, quote, "weaponize justice for political gain," end quote. Though she stopped short of naming Orange Palpatine, who have pushed for months for the Justice Department's officials to bring charges against her. Quote, "We are witnesses to the frame of our democracy, the erosions of our systems of government," end quote, James said. This, my friend, is a defining moment in our history. She called on supporters to protect every norms and every rule of law, as she vowed she would not capitulate. New You come for me, you got to come through all of us, James roared to a loud cheer. Every single one of us. The event, which also includes remarks from New York Liberty's guard Natasha Cloud and the television personalities and broadcasts known as the Kid Neuro, kicked off the final stretch of Madami's campaign ahead of the November 4th election. End quote. At the end of the day, Letitia, the queen, she's built for this. She's a New Yorker. She's a New Yorker. So at the end of the day, that sister gonna be okay. And it's crazy because the first person that he wanted to bring charges against her said, there's nothing there, I ain't doing it. So what he did was got rid of that person and put an incompetent muff into office that don't know what the she doing. And since she want to please Aunt Palpatine to get on her knees and slap the knob, she said, you know what? I'm going to do it. Don't I have any experience when it comes to that? And she brought up these bogus charges. But at the end of the day, the queen herself, she going to be okay. She going to be all right. I have no worry about that. She going to be there. At the end of the day, I hope you guys having a good evening. I appreciate you guys for sticking around, listening to your boy. Also, I hope that you like and subscribe and continue to support your boy. Let's build this machine. You guys have a good night. I'm out.